Yo, what's going on, Dragon Ballers? Welcome back to another deck profile. This one is a personal one. You guys did ask to see more of what I am playing, and I actually really like this deck, so I do want to show you guys my Soul Stiker deck profile. You guys may have seen another Soul Stiker deck profile on Marcus's channel, Emperor Couscous. You may have also seen him play it on his streams. Me and him have been working on this a lot, so I did want to bring you my take on it. I think at this point our lists are only a little bit different, maybe like 3 or 4 cards, but I know in his original list that he posted I think last week, it's actually quite a bit different than this, so we're more or so on the same page at this point. But I do want to show you guys my list. If you guys are new here, definitely subscribe, hit that bell so never miss a video. If you want to help the channel out, there are a million ways down in the description to do so. Particularly today, if you want to buy any cards you see in today's video, definitely go down in the description, use my link to TCG Player. It really does help out a lot, guys. That being said, we'll get started. So we have Soul Stiker Reboot here. So basically on the backside, you can attack, you have the option to draw a card or untap an energy. Honestly, guys, you're basically always going to draw the card. You're never not going to draw the card. There's never just really an instance where you need that extra untap, so that works out great. You awaken when you have a 3-drop Unison in play or life of 4 or less. You draw 2 cards, and on the backside you attack and you get to untap up to 2 of your mono blue energy. I can't believe people said this thing was bad compared to old Soul Stiker. I mean, just the front side draw makes it infinitely better. Yes, it only untaps mono blues, and yes, mono color decks did get a ton of support recently, but I mean, just the fact that this thing actually has an inherent draw engine makes him infinitely better than, you know, pre-reboot Soul Stiker, if you will, even if monocolor didn't get the boost that it did in more recent sets. But anyways, that's the leader. Enough about that. Let's get into that main deck. So I will go through this in kind of like the order of curve, even though like there's not a super specific curve, but there are certain things you really do want to see at certain times. So for this, we have just 2 1-drops, 2 Isekai keeping watch. This could be a lot of things, maybe not too many things, but this could be this could be Borgos because of the mirror match. You know, a lot of people actually aren't playing the Borgos types of cards, which is, you know, amazing for Soul Stiker. We hope that stays the same because there's so many good decks in the meta right now that it's really hard for your opponent to say, okay, I'm going to main deck tech against Soul Stiker in particular, because then they're losing out on some other matchups. So you could play this. I like this because of things like Topo, just, you know, freeze a charismatic villain, just counterplays on your turn. This punishes them. If I could just fit it in the deck, I would play 4 1-drops just to make sure you use that turn 1 energy. But we do actually have another good way to use turn 1 energy, which we will get into. So for like sort of our turn 2 play, but not like our strict turn 2 play, we have 3 Mech Yorp bobbing and weaving. Honestly, this card is incredible. Most of the time on turn 2, I'm leaving both my energy open for defensive purposes, and getting a Mech Yorp down on that defensive turn is so important. Like against Gotenks, for example, they may drop like a Grim Reaper on turn 2. Against Red Broly or Dark Broly, you're getting punched in the face by a bunch of big dudes by turn 2. There's just so many strong turn 2, turn 3 plays, depending on who goes first in the game, that you just want to have that, you know, really good defense. This guy's like almost a reverse dimension magic, but he actually gives you a 15k body. This card's incredible. Definitely great in most blue decks that you're going to play. So basically for our Awaken / you know, really OP Unison, we're playing 4 copies of Baby the Unknown Parasite. This card is literally just perfect for Soul Stiker. It's everything you need. It gets you Awakened, so no more, you know, results of training. We have our draw power with this, and then the game ending power is just incredible. The -5 is so reliable because once you just start pumping this guy full of counters, it becomes so hard for your opponent to clear his counters. But don't make the mistake of like just charging all the extra copies, guys. There are going to be certain scenarios, especially against green in particular, where you are going to need an extra copy of this in your hand so that you can use the ability, or I guess the game mechanic, to give it an extra marker and then you know, go in that way. So you definitely want to do that. You don't want to be too reckless in terms of like charging this, just because, you know, it is dead, it doesn't have combo power, it's not like a negate or anything, but you don't want to charge every single copy you see, especially against green. So just so you guys know, that's the way you're gonna get the -5 off in that type of matchup. And then we are playing 1 more 3-drop Unison. Honestly, this guy's whatever. I mean, dual attack is cool, he has the -1 for removal. You're never really gonna resolve the permanent, but realistically it's just for another copy of an Awakener. Me and Marcus actually did the math on this on one of his streams, and by turn 3, having a 5th copy of a 3-drop Unison actually increased our percentages of seeing it by 9%, which you know, is actually a pretty high jump. So there are gonna be some scenarios where you just don't see Baby Unison, you need to get Awakened, and this guy just does the job. I think if a better 3-drop Unison comes out, it will probably end up replacing this. Again, the removal is not too bad, but just the rest of it is very meh. There are some 3-drop Unisons coming out in draft box 6 that may end up replacing that guy. All right, so for some of the main deck stuff, Unfortunately, we're playing this rather expensive card. We're playing 3 SS2 Trunks Heroic Prospect in the main deck. There's one more in the sideboard, which we will go over the side deck. But unfortunately here, guys, I mean, this card was so bad last format, it didn't really have a place in the meta. But now with Gotenks, with Red Broly, with Dark Broly, all these decks just swinging tall super early, it's just such a good card right now. You really do need to play it if you're going to play this deck. It really is worth it, in my opinion. Unfortunately, it is rather expensive at the moment. Next up, guys, this is the special Marcus Tech. Again, got to shout him out for this. We have Mirichim Brave Bruiser. This is actually a pretty funny thing, guys. I don't play Obooney in this deck list. There is no Obooney in this deck, in the main deck at least. And Mirichim is just incredible. I mean, Barrier, Double Strike, Activate Main, look at the top card of their deck. If it's a battle card, he gains dual attack and 5k for the turn. Very similar to Yellow Ginyu from Draft Box 4, which I was actually a big fan of Yellow Ginyu. But this guy's got a lot more protection, which is great against green, and the majority of players at these tournaments are playing Gotenks, so having the barrier for the Frieza Charismatic Villain is absolutely incredible, and this guy just wins you so many games. I mean, most often he gets the dual attack. It's really strong. I like him a lot. And now this is, you know, my sort of tech here. We're playing 3 Junemba Raging Incarnation of Evil. So this guy is a 4-drop with Deflect and Critical, and then he says when you play him, you activate the skill at the start of your opponent's next turn, you untap 3 energy, and you draw a card. So this is really good against your blue mirror matches. It's actually really good against aggressive decks as well. So it's really good against Dark Broly, really good against Red Broly, because it allows you to play a threat down that 1 gives you draw power and 2 readies your energy for defense. It's just honestly everything you want in a card. You're playing blue, or playing Mech Yorp, or playing obviously Dimension Magic, which we'll get to, or playing other really defensive cards. So you're usually going to get to that turn 4 as long as you're not taking a ton of damage. And this guy is just incredible. I love him in the deck. He's really strong. Next up, we just have 4 of our God-Slaying Technique. Of course, if you're playing blue Unisons, you got to play it. We have 3 of our big monkey boys. Baby Golden Avenger. This guy is, again, really incredible. A lot of times I actually will pay 5 for him, although when you get the -5 off of the Unison, this guy can be activated by discarding 2 cards, and that's not really too much of a problem because you just discard extra cards, you discard cards you can't combo with, extra Unisons, and he just becomes a free 30k Triple Striker. He offers you barrier removal, which actually is quite relevant. This card just absolutely incredible. Then we have another tech of mine that I'm trying to get Marcus to like, but I don't know how he feels about it yet. We have 2 copies of Ultimate Fusion Gogeta. This card, in my opinion, is amazing in this deck for multiple reasons. Like, I would say it's also really good in probably SS3 Reboot, but I think in SS3 Reboot, the SS4 Vegeta is probably just a bit better. But I love this guy for the removal he offers. Obviously, you know, he's a pretty old card, so if you don't remember, Sparking 5, when you play him, you draw 2 and you bottom deck 2 of your opponent's battle cards. You can fuse into him, but we're not playing a ton of Gokus and Vegetas in the deck, so that's not really super relevant. But basically, you play him on 5, and then you have your leader to give you back 2 energy for defense. Dimension Magic, Sensu Bean, those lead to even more defensive plays. Or if you need to tap out for him, if you want to play like a Gogeta 5 and a Saiyan Instincts, for instance, you can play Baby Hatchiac. That basically just ends your opponent's turn. You do have to be careful with this card because there are some times where, you know, this obviously allows you to be super greedy, make all the plays in the world, especially Soul Striker. Like on a turn 5, he basically gives you 7 energy. So like I said, that's like a Gogeta 5 and like a Saiyan Instincts, and this guy can basically allow you to do that safely. But green, especially like Cell Xeno decks or anything that can like look at your hand, you do have to be careful when you want to basically sit on this card and, you know, be safe in that regard. But of course, if you don't own this, guys, you could definitely play Smoke Dragon. You could even play possibly Negative Energy Dragon Balls, although it's a little bit more difficult to get cards into the drop area here without being super inefficient. But besides that, the Secret Rare is definitely very, very good. Next up, we have 4 copies of Dimension Magic. Of course, you're just going to play it. But we're only playing 3 copies of Sensu Bean, guys. This is something me and Marcus talked about. Sensu Bean's not incredible right now. We're not making a ton of offensive pushes in the deck. We don't have a lot of like small drops in the deck here, so there's no real reason to like go aggressive with Bean unless like the game ending push. And besides that, there's not a lot of like 15k aggro in the format, so 3 Bean in the main feels fine. We were even talking about knocking it to 2, but I really can't justify playing less than 3. The card is still amazing in a lot of scenarios, but not a lot of 15k aggro in the meta, so we're just doing that for now. We have 4 copies of Zamasu Super Combo. In my opinion, if you're playing a blue leader that does not need like all blue energy, or like Soul Strike or SS3 Reboot, for instance, where you just really can't afford to charge this, I think you should play this in whatever blue or yellow deck you're playing. It's just too powerful. And then no matter whether you're playing blue or yellow, you have an Arrival to play. Luckily, in my opinion, blue has the better one. Goku Hit, Supreme Alliance, allows you to be super aggressive, super defensive, It's actually just incredible. So that's it for most of like the blue and blue yellow stuff. We have a few off color cards. We are playing Sand Instincts. I wouldn't necessarily say you absolutely need this card. There are a lot of turn twos. Like I said, you're gonna leave your energy up, you're gonna combo this like, you know, on turn 1, maybe turn 2. You can then use it on turn 2. That feels good. There's also a combo with Junemba where, you know, on your Awakened side you can play Junemba. You know for a fact he's going to untap 3 on your opponent's turn. You can swing with your Awakened leader, get 2 energy back, use Sand Instinct, so you're just like super ultra efficient on that turn. And then your leader, and then Junemba untaps 3 energy, so you basically got 6 energy worth of plays that turn and 3 energy for your opponent's turn. That's why I think Junemba is so incredible in this deck. But anyways, I wouldn't say you need it, because honestly, when you awaken with the Unison and start drawing cards with the Unison, you do have a pretty decent hand size. I just think Sand Instinct is really good in the deck for those reasons I mentioned. We have 3 Pseudo Combos. The return of the Pseudo Combo. This is a card I had to kind of convince Marcus on, and he is liking it as far as I'm aware. I think this is incredible. Like turn 2, negate with Mech Yorp, and then like combo with this to block 2 attacks for super big value. It's just incredibly strong. I love it. They're great. Then we have 2 max power in the main deck, and we have 1 Secret Identity Mass Sand just for our black cards. Max power is incredible. There's just so many matchups where it's good against Red Gogeta, Red Broly, Dark Broly, Gotenks. It's just so good. And then Secret Identity Mass Sand is a 1-of Overwhelm for some wide removal. We do have a good amount of tall removal with Gogeta and with the Ape, so having the Secret Identity in the main is really good. Now for the side deck. 1 more copy of Trunks for when you need it. This is again Red Broly, Dark Broly, even Gotenks is good against. 1 more Bean in case you do play against like an Obooney strategy, or like AOD for instance. 1 more East Kai when they're really playing stuff on your turn, like Red for instance playing Topo, you want to punish that. And then we have 2 copies of Dirty Burst. This is a card I'm really liking right now. It means you don't die to Cell Xeno the turn they play it, and it means you don't die to Fu Shrouded in Mystery the turn they play it. And you are playing blue. You're not playing anything super fast. You're not being hyper aggressive. So you do want cards that basically, you know, deal with boss monsters in the end game. This is probably our best equivalent to like probably Chomp of the Trickster, something that just deals with those huge boss monsters. But luckily this is the counterplay timing, so they typically can't stop it. There are some things that can stop stuff like Chomp of the Trickster, but not so much Dirty Burst. So we have 1 copy of All Too Easy just for Invoker matchups. You do want to have the drop barrier negates for that. We do have 2 copies of Hit Deadly Vanguard. I'm not like totally sold on this card yet. It is theoretically quite good against Red Broly, but the problem with it is on turn 3 you always want to play your Unison. I played this deck a lot over the past week, and even in the aggro matchups you want to tap out for your Unison on 3 because your leader will get you energy back, but he doesn't get you 3 energy back. So for instance in like SS3 Reboot, or even like S4 Vegeta, this guy is really strong on turn 3 to like bounce back the Broly 5 drops in red and whatnot. But yeah, in this deck, I don't know. This is probably pretty cuttable. Maybe something better, maybe like Haru Haru or something, which I'm not playing at the moment. But then for a few black cards, we have 1 more max power. Again, really great in a lot of matchups. We have 1 copy of Bardock Fully Unleashed. So these kind of come in like a package deal when you just need tall removal. You take out Secret Identity and you just put this guy in on top of your 3 max powers. This guy's really strong when they just happen to like flood a board of 6 drops, like Gotenks especially. And then 1 more Secret Identity in the side deck for when you just need it. And then the final card we'll talk about, guys, I side deck for Obooney, and I've never wanted to bring it in. I really just haven't wanted to bring it in. Against green, it's really bad because of Dormant Potential Unleashed. They just clear all the tokens, so you get like no value there. It's also not so great against yellow, where they can just rest all the tokens. Against blue, they could Godsling Trunks all the tokens away, so that's pretty unfortunate. It's not bad against red and black. It's probably actually really good against black, unless they have Protector of the People. Then this thing is kind of meh, but I guess in that case you still get tokens for combo power, and then, you know, a barrage of attacks the next turn. And then red has things like Is That All You Got or Yamcha Counterplay, which does deal with 2 tokens, but I guess even in that scenario it's not too bad. But honestly, I think in all those matchups, Marichim is probably just better, except for maybe yellow. I don't know, but I think Marichim is honestly just really good in this format. Obooney's a great card. It provides a lot of value, but I think just contextually in the format, we've been talking a lot about contextual DVS, and contextually in the format, this is not amazing. But anyways, guys, that's the deck list. I hope you enjoyed it. Definitely drop some comments down below. Let me know what you think. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.